everybody, I'm Tabitha and I've read 5 more books. If you are looking for my rating scale, that is the scale that I use when I rate books because it's a little specific to this channel. Remember, you will now find that at the end of the video. So you can actually follow the helpful timestamp down in the description and it'll help you jump right to it. In fact, you can also find helpful timestamps that'll help you jump to each of the 5 books I'm about to talk about in case you want to jump around because maybe you've already watched this video. Anyway, we've got 5 books to talk about, so let's get to it. The first book I read in the month of August was Hush Girl by Gloria Zachgo. This is an adult age category mystery thriller. It was independently published in 2017 and it is 376 pages. I got an electronic review copy of this from the author in exchange for this honest review. Your synopsis. Nikki Reed is desperate to find the answers to her past, and someone else is desperate for her never to remember. What didn't I like about this one? Well, the first thing I can say I didn't like, and this might be a small one, it was for me, depending on how picky you are, is that this one does have some formatting and grammatical errors. It's not a lot, it's just a few of them, and I would say they don't affect the readability of the text in most cases, but it is enough that I noticed it, even though you know that I don't really look for grammatical errors. Second thing I can say I didn't particularly like is I felt like this one had some pacing issues. What I mean by that was there are sections of this one that feel repetitive and slow, but they're broken up by really exciting scenes. I would have liked to see that evened out just a little bit more. The last thing I can say I didn't like about this one is that it is mildly predictable. That's not to say that it's overly predictable. I was, however, disappointed that there was a little bit of predictability to it. I like to be really surprised by my books, so I didn't like that I had even some of this one figured out. There's one little twist thing in particular that I felt was really obvious, and that always bothers me when that happens. So what did I like about this one? Well, the first thing is I thought this one had a really interesting format. I always like new things, and this book delivered on something new in the formatting department. Part of the book is told through journal entries Nikki's writing on recommendation from her therapist. Those were really interesting. They made the book original and gave it kind of a fresh take, and I really liked that. Second thing I can say I liked about this one, and this is important in a mystery thriller, is that this one was thrilling. It's exactly the word you want a reader to use when describing a thriller, so it makes sense. It was fast-paced, and I enjoyed the ride. The third thing I can say I liked about this one is Nikki herself. I think I expected her to be an unreliable narrator, and she really kind of wasn't. Her own mind was unreliable in a way, but that was great. It made Nikki this genuine character. She has good ethics. I really liked her arc in this story, and I just liked the way this one played out. Who do I think should read this one? If you are a reader who's intrigued by the idea of the key to a mystery being locked away in the memories of a character, you're going to love this one. My rating? I had to give this one 4 stars. It's going to appeal to all mystery thriller fans, and since that's the genre it was written for, that's a 4-star book in my opinion. If you like mystery thrillers, you need to go get this one. So 4 stars for Hush Girl by Gloria Zachgo. For the next book I read in the month of August, I'm going to do sort of a fast review of it, but the complete review can be found on Goodreads. So this book was The Whispering Skull by Jonathan Stroud. This is a middle grade mystery thriller. It was published by Disney Hyperion in 2014, and it is 435 pages. Your synopsis. Lockwood & Company are back, and this time they're competing with a rival team of agents to find a missing object that has vanished and could be highly dangerous. So I'm going to do a fast review of this one, and the reason I'm going to do that, there's a lot of them. Number one, no one's waiting for this review. It wasn't a shield, it's not an advanced reader copy, and it wasn't a review request. So that means I can do a fast review. Number two, this was not my absolute most favorite book in the entire world. It was good, but it wasn't great, which means it's not going to come in as a favorite for the year. And number three, this is a sequel. So in my opinion, if you didn't love the first one, I don't even know that you'd be looking at this one. So I'm going to skip right ahead to who I think should read this one. If you are a fan of the first book who's invested in the characters and you want to dive back in, you should read this one. It's exactly the reason that brought me back to this one, and the characters are wonderful. I also think if you are a middle school student or if you work with middle school students and you're looking for something that's in the ghost realm or something that might be scary without being too scary, this series really is great. The first book is called The Screaming Staircase, and I'm going to recommend you start with that one. My overall rating for this one was 3 stars. It's a good book, and if you're already a fan of the series, I think it would even be a higher rated book for you. Again, for my full review, including what I loved and what I didn't love, make sure you find me on Goodreads. The next book I read in the month of August was The Silvered Serpents by Roshani Chokshi. This is a young adult age category fantasy novel. It is coming to you in September of 2020 by Wednesday Books, and it is 416 pages. I did receive an electronic advanced reader copy of this title from NetGalley and Wednesday Books in exchange for this honest review. Your synopsis: Severin and his team have successfully thwarted the Fallen House at a terrible cost. Desperate to make amends, Severin pursues a dangerous lead to find a lost artifact rumored to grant the powers of God. His crew will risk their lives to join him on one last job. What didn't I like about this one? Well, the first thing I could say I didn't like about this one, and I think I said this exact same thing about the first book in this series, was it's a little slow. There are parts of this book that slow down time and carefully examine everything around the characters, but it reads slow. There are long periods of wait time between the action, which is intentional, but it definitely makes the pacing of this one feel off. The second thing I wasn't crazy about in this one is the ending. I am so picky about endings, you guys, and I know that. I don't like everything solved for me, but I also like to have some mystery left at the end. Something that gives me some closure, but then at the same time makes me keep wondering and doing more thinking. I want these characters to keep me up at night wondering about certain things. I cannot say much about why I didn't love this ending. It would be major spoilers for a book that doesn't come out until September, but I can just say that I'm super disappointed in this ending. I'm bummed. I wanted to love it, and I was disappointed in the way this one wrapped up. The other thing I can say I didn't like about this one is static characters. This crew feels exactly the same in this book as they did the first time around. That's frustrating, I think, because the characters kept lamenting about how different the other characters felt. The characters kept complaining that their friends felt different, but to the reader, they all felt exactly the same. And I don't like that. I like when characters feel a little different. I like when things change. I like when I remember they've been through things because they feel different in the sequel. And I wanted this crew to have that growth. So what did I like about this one? Well, the first thing I can say I liked is that I was more comfortable in the setting this time around. This, of course, is a book that's the sequel to The Gilded Wolves. In The Gilded Wolves, I commented that you don't feel like you truly understand the world. It was a little off-putting. I think that's all fixed in this sequel. I felt completely comfortable here. In fact, there were a couple places in this book that I want to visit because they were so beautifully described. The second thing I can say I liked about this one is it had beautiful language. I actually highlighted a few quotes in my Kindle, which is something I absolutely never do, just because they were beautiful. The language was great, it was well written, and it was emotion I connected with. This author definitely has a knack for language. In fact, I'm wondering if she was a poet before. I kind of want to look into that. The third thing I can say I liked about this one is that I do still like the characters. I liked this crew and this found family thing they had going in the first one. I like that it's still there in the second one. I only want good things for this crew all the way through. Who do I think should read this one? Obviously, if you're a fan of The Gilded Wolves, you should definitely read this one. But I do also want to say, if like me, you were lukewarm about the first book, you may like this one better. Less time is spent on building up the world because we're already comfortable with it, so we get to immerse ourselves in it a little bit better and just enjoy those characters more. In general, if you're a fan of fantasy books with epic world building and found family, you should definitely give this series a try. My rating? I gave this one 4 stars. It had issues, but overall it is a well-written fantasy book that readers of the fantasy genre are going to enjoy. So 4 stars for The Silvered Serpents by Roshani Chokshi. This next book had the lowest reader average on Goodreads before this month started. The next book I read in the month of August was Mermaid by Jodi Picoult. This is an adult age category contemporary novella. It is published in 2017 by Amazon, and it was 40 pages. Before the month started, this was actually the lowest rated book on my TBR. Your synopsis. Hope used to be a mermaid in a theme park. Now she's married to a marine biologist who decides to fill the pool in their backyard with flounder for a study. Before he can even begin, the fish vanish, and Hope senses there's something beneath the surface, alive and hungry for more. What didn't I like about this one? The point? I think I missed it. There were events, and they're strung together in sort of an order, but I think I completely missed the point of this book. Sorry. The second thing I could say I didn't like about this one is the characters themselves. In a story this short, you don't have a lot of time to develop characters, so I suppose that explains why I didn't connect with any of these, and I felt wildly confused after finishing it. Maybe. Hopefully. So what did I like? Well, this is a Kindle in motion, which I had never heard of literally before the morning I started that book. Basically, it means it's an ebook produced by Amazon that has moving images and pictures inside the book if you read it on the right device. It is gorgeous. It's a very, very cool concept. It makes it like a piece of art and a book all in the same shot. It was great. I don't know why I'd never heard of it before, and honestly, it was truly gorgeous. Second thing I can say I liked about this one is I'm intrigued. I know how Jodi Picoult normally works. The characters in her novellas often end up in her full-length novels later. They're usually like little screen tests for her, chances for her to play around with the character and see what she's going to do with them so she can use them in her full-length stories. I kind of hope that was the case with this one because I'm totally intrigued by this idea. I hope that hope comes back because I have some serious questions that only a full-length novel can answer. Who do I think should read this one? Look, if you have Kindle Unlimited, I really think you should give this one a try, only because it is a great opportunity to check out that Kindle in motion idea for free. Otherwise, it's going to cost you $2.99 to read for like 15, maybe 30 minutes, so you've been warned, be cautious. My rating? I gave this one 2 stars. Look, I like this concept, but I'm just not sure it was worth the cost, which makes it problematic. So 2 stars for Mermaid by Jodi Picoult. The next book I read for the month of August is Soul of the Crow by Jessaca Willis. This is independently published and it's coming to you August 26th. It is a young adult age category fantasy story and it is 228 pages. I did receive this advanced reader copy from the author in exchange for this honest review. Your synopsis. When a mortal wants someone dead, they contact a reaper. Jessaca is one of them. She slays her targets dutifully with the help of her crow familiar. She needs one more kill to ascend to the coveted role of Shade. So when the King of Oakfall requests a reaper, Jessaca volunteers. But nothing about this job is going to be as easy as she thinks it is. So what didn't I like about this one? Call it a content warning. This one may not end the way you want. If you absolutely hate slight cliffhangers, you should know that this is the first book in a series and it does leave some questions unanswered. That being said, in my opinion, this ending works. But I feel like I should warn those of you who don't like that kind of ending. Content warning. So what did I like about this one? This is a new take on the Grim Reaper tale. I have to admit, I was worried about this because I've read a few other amazing takes on Grim Reaper tales in my day. I was worried this one was going to fall stale and be too much like those, and it does not. This book gives a fresh take on the concept in a way that I absolutely adored. That's all I can say. The next thing I can say I liked about this one is that high fantasy at its best. That's what this book is. High fantasy at its best. This one is layered and layered with details of a world that makes you so completely comfortable inside of that world you are going to feel like you live there. The language makes sense immediately. It's never off-putting. It's never confusing. The characters feel real. It's just amazing. I felt lost and immersed in this story even when I was in the underworld. The last thing I can say I like about this one is that it twists and takes your breath away. I can't spoil the twists, obviously, but this one is just packed with them, and they are emotional, and they're amazing. This story is an amazing ride. Who do I think should read this one? Look, if you are a fantasy fan, specifically if you're a reader who likes dark fantasy, you need to go pre-order this one as soon as you're done watching the video. I also think if you're a reader who likes playing around with mythological ideas, you are gonna love where this story goes. Also, if you're a reader who likes paranormal, if the idea of a Grim Reaper tale told in yet another new way appeals to you, definitely go get this book. My rating, in case you couldn't guess by how much I'm smiling and how little I had to say about the negative, I'm giving this book 5 stars. This book is going to appeal to a wide range of readers. The language is great, the writer is great, the book is great. Go get this one. 5 stars for Soul of the Crow by Jessica Willis. All right, watchers, you just heard me give this book 5 stars. That means if you have a book that you think is similar to this book, please make sure you drop the name of the book and the author down below in the comments, because I'll be choosing books based on this one for next month's TBR. All right, my friends, that is it for me and my obnoxious dog. You may or may not have picked up barking, walking on the hardwood floor, or trying to make himself comfortable in the background. Sorry about that. But that's it for the first 5 that I read in August. If you are still here, please drop a comment to let me know. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap that little bell so you know when I'm back. Keep plotting the path to your own dreams, and I will see you next time. Bye! Watchers of this channel will already know this, but I do book reviews every time I've read 5 books. You should know that I don't read just one specific age category or genre. I'm actually a reader of pretty much anything. So I will make sure to tell you what age category, what genre it is, and more importantly, what kind of readers I think will love the book that I'm reviewing. I do use a 5-star rating system to review all my books, so I'd like to take a quick second to tell you about that system. 5-star ratings are reserved for books that I absolutely love, that I think transcend genre. In other words, you might love this one even if you don't normally read the genre it's written in. 4-star books, on the other hand, are books that I absolutely love and think are great books, but they're more specific to the genre they are written for. 3-star ratings are for books that I think are good books, but they have a really niche audience. You might not love this one even if you normally read this genre. 2-star ratings are the ratings I reserve for books that I think are problematic. I do try to explain some of the problems in the what I didn't love section so that you know if it's the kind of thing that would really bother you or not. 1-star rating, on the other hand, are reserved for books that I honestly didn't enjoy and can't recommend. They're just not for me.